You know, we all live by the clock, right? But what if I told you our whole experience of time is basically just a trick our minds are playing on us? And now, picture this, a mind that's completely artificial. It doesn't feel time at all. It just reads it like code. That massive gap between how we see time and how an AI sees it, that's where our future is being written. And trust me, it's a way bigger deal than you might think.
I mean, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? A fantastic vacation just flies by, but a single boring meeting can feel like it stretches on for, well, forever. It's because our internal clock, it's not a clock at all. It's subjective, it's emotional, and honestly, it's kind of a mess. But the science behind why it's so weird is absolutely fascinating.
Okay, so here's the running theory. More and more scientists believe our brain works like something called a Bayesian inference machine. Now, that's just a really fancy way of saying it's a prediction engine running 24/7. It's not sitting there with a stopwatch measuring time precisely. Nope, it's guessing. It's making its best inference about how much time has passed based on everything it's ever learned and everything it's seeing, hearing, and feeling right now.
So, and this is the really crucial part. Our experience of time isn't some perfect, high-fidelity recording of what's actually happening. Not even close. It's more like a reconstruction. It's a story our brain is telling itself, and that story gets heavily influenced by our memories, what we're focused on, even how fast our heart is beating. And just like any story, it's full of biases.
And here's where it gets really interesting. Our brains actually make predictable mistakes. For example, we do this weird thing where we pull our time estimates towards some kind of mental average. So short things feel a little longer than they were, and really long things feel a little shorter. Our sense of time is also relative. You can easily tell the difference between 1 second and 2 seconds, right? But try telling 61 seconds apart from 62. Almost impossible. And whatever you just timed, yeah, that totally messes with your guess for the next thing. Our brains are constantly getting it just a little bit wrong.
And you know what? This isn't even a new idea. Way back, like over 150 years ago, a guy named Hermann von Helmholtz pretty much nailed it. He said that our perception is built on unconscious inferences. We aren't born with a perfect clock ticking in our heads. We learn how to perceive time as we go.
Okay, so everything we've talked about so far is about our biological brains, with all their beautiful, messy human quirks. But here comes the big pivot. What happens when you build a mind from the ground up? A mind that doesn't have to guess, one that doesn't experience time as this flowing river, but just sees it as, well, a database full of cold, hard facts.
And this slide just lays it all out perfectly. This is the fundamental difference. For us humans, time flows. It's this continuous subjective thing that we're swimming in. For an AI, though, time is a series of separate objective timestamps. It's not a memory that needs to be pieced back together. It's just a data point to be pulled up from a file.
So what does that mean in practice? It means an AI can literally jump between the past, the present, and a whole bunch of hypothetical futures without any of the emotional baggage or the faulty memories that we have. It can analyze all these scenarios with the exact same objective clarity. Doesn't matter if it happened 10 years ago or if it might happen in the next 60 seconds.
And you can see that AI's whole understanding of time is getting more and more sophisticated. Just look at this progression here. The early models, that's what you see over in diagram A, they were pretty simple, just processing things step by step. But now, we're building these incredibly complex, hierarchical models, like what you see in C, that can understand time on multiple levels all at once. We're talking milliseconds, minutes, even huge historical patterns. It's like it's creating its own abstract concept of time.
All right, now buckle up, because this is where things could get seriously weird. If we look way down the road, to technologies like quantum computing, an AI's perception of time might not even be a straight line anymore. It could become more like a spectrum of probabilities, where it's evaluating all possible futures at the exact same time. It's a wild thought for sure, but it really drives home just how alien an AI's reality could become. Okay, so this is all a really fascinating kind of sci-fi difference in perception. But so what? Why does it actually matter for us here and now? Why should we care that these powerful tools we're building experience our oldest, most fundamental dimension in a totally different way?
Well, it matters because we're handing over more and more high-stakes decisions to these systems every single day. And when we do that, we're not just getting a faster answer. We are literally replacing our messy, human, storytelling sense of time with AI's instant, data-driven version. We are fundamentally changing the temporality, the very nature of the decision itself. Speed isn't just faster anymore, it's different.
So how can we even begin to wrap our heads around this? Well, there's a really useful framework that breaks down this algorithmic speed into 4 key dimensions. And this is where we're going to see how that totally different perception of time has very real consequences for all of us.
First up is duration. This one's the most obvious, just how long a decision takes. Think about it. An AI can reject a loan application in, milliseconds. A human committee might take a week, maybe more. That instant no feels completely different. It gives you zero time to process, to deliberate, or to even think about an appeal.
Second, we've got timing. This isn't about how long, but when a decision is made. So traditional policing, right? They investigate a crime after it's already happened. But predictive policing systems, they want to intervene before a crime even occurs. And that shifts the entire logic from being reactive to preemptive. And that has massive, massive implications for things like civil rights and justice.
Number 3 is frequency. How often are we being evaluated? Just compare a classic once-a-year performance review with an algorithm that tracks a warehouse worker's productivity every single second. That kind of constant, high-frequency evaluation completely changes the nature of work and the pressure that comes with it.
So the big takeaway here is that this incredible acceleration, this speed, it isn't just some cool tech achievement. It's a social phenomenon, and it's creating a whole new minefield of ethical challenges for us to navigate. We're learning that the speed of a judgment can be just as important as whether that judgment is right or wrong.
And this all boils down to 4 major consequences. First, algorithmic speed disrupts our normal social rhythms. It just replaces them. Second, it recalibrates the balance between really important values, like should we prioritize speed or fairness? Third, it displaces costs. Sure, an instant decision might save a company time and money, but it shifts the whole burden of figuring out why to the person who just got rejected. And finally, it creates a problem of temporal fairness. I mean, who really benefits from all this speed, and who ends up paying the price?
Ultimately, what we have to remember is that making a judgment isn't just about finding a fact, It's a social practice. A verdict that's delivered after a long, thoughtful trial has a completely different weight and meaning than one that's just spat out by a machine in a microsecond. There's this really evocative quote that says, "Time is a tapestry of infinite possibilities, waiting to be unraveled." And when you think about it from an AI's perspective, that takes on a whole new meaning. For us, that tapestry unfolds one thread at a time, moment by moment. But for these systems, it's like the whole tapestry's already finished. All the threads, past, present, and future, are just right there, accessible and measurable all at once.
And that leaves us with this final and I think absolutely critical question. We built AI to save us time. But as it re-engineers the very pace and rhythm of our world, we really have to ask ourselves what parts of our flawed, subjective, human sense of time, the time for reflection, for deliberation, for doubt, for grace, what parts of that are we willing to give up for the promise of instant results?